Every year, IGNOU MEVS students clear every theory paper in the program and then stall at one single course. That course is MEVP-012, the project work of the Master of Arts in Environmental Studies. This guide walks you through the whole thing, from your first topic idea to the day you sit for the Viva. Here is what you will learn. How MEVP-012 is actually structured, how to pick a topic that gets approved the first time, who is allowed to supervise you, what goes into the proposal package, how to write and format the report, and how submission, evaluation, and the Viva really work. Section 1. What MEVP-012 is and where it sits in the MAEVS program. MEVP-012 is the compulsory project work course of the Master of Arts in Environmental Studies, offered by IGNOU's School of Interdisciplinary and Trans-disciplinary Studies. It is not an extended assignment and it is not a literature essay. It is a small, complete piece of original research on a real environmental problem, written up as a formal project report and then defended in an oral Viva. Let me put MAEVS itself on the table first, because the project only makes sense inside the program. MEVS is an 80-credit master's degree. It is a semester-based program with 4 semesters, each carrying 20 credits. Eligibility is a bachelor's degree in any discipline from a recognized university, and the medium of instruction is English. The program is built on a modular pattern with lateral entry and exit. After you complete the first year of courses, you become eligible for a postgraduate diploma in environmental studies. That exit route matters here, because the project sits at the opposite end of the program. You do not touch MEVP-012 in year 1. Now the placement. The official IGNOU course structure lists MEVP-012 as project work, 6 credits, Semester 4. It shares that final semester with 3 theory courses. MEVE-012, Environmental Management, 4 credits. MEVE-015, Disaster Management, 4 credits. And MEDS-042, Issues and Challenges in Urban Planning and Development, 6 credits. 4 plus 4 plus 6 plus 6 gives you the 20 credits of Semester 4. Read that list again, because it contains the single most expensive mistake in this program. Section 2. The code traps and the credit figure almost everyone gets wrong. Trap number 1. MEVE-012 and MEVP-012 are not the same course. MEVE-012 is Environmental Management, a 4-credit theory course. MEVP-012 is your project work, 6 credits. They sit in the same semester, they share the same 3-digit number, and they differ by exactly 1 letter. The P stands for project. If the code on the document you downloaded says E instead of P, you are holding a theory syllabus, not a project handbook. Trap number 2 is bigger. There are 3 different IGNOU project codes that begin with MEVP, and they belong to 3 different programs. MEVP-001 is the 4-credit project of the MA in Environmental and Occupational Health. MEVP-011 is the 8-credit project of the MSc in Environmental Science. And MEVP-012, yours, is the 6-credit project of the MA in Environmental Studies. 3 programs, 3 handbooks, 3 different proposal performers, 3 different credit weights. This is exactly why so many pages about your project quote the wrong numbers. They copy the MSc figures, and the MSc figures are not your figures. So let us be precise. MEVP-012 carries 6 credits and sits in Semester 4. 6 credits in the IGNOU system corresponds to roughly 180 hours of learner study time. That is your budget, and it tells you exactly what scope to aim for. 6 credits means a focused, well-executed study on one clearly bounded question. It is not a doctoral thesis and it is not a 15-page essay either. Students who attempt something enormous usually run out of session, not out of ideas. Students who submit something thin lose marks on analysis. And analysis is where the heaviest weightage sits. There is a consequence to getting the code wrong that is worth saying plainly. Each project code carries its own handbook and its own approval proforma. Fill in the wrong proforma and your proposal is not delayed. It is simply not entertained. Check the cover of your handbook and confirm it reads MEVP-012 before you write a single line. One more thing before we move on, and it is the most underused resource in this entire program. In Semester 3, you study MEV-019, Research Methodology for Environmental Science. That course covers research formulation, research design, data collection and management, statistical analysis and research paper writing. IGNOU placed it in the semester immediately before the project on purpose. It is not general reading. It is the textbook for MEVP-012. Keep it open on your desk while you write your proposal. Section 3. The full life cycle of MEVP-012, stage by stage. The official handbook lays this out as a clear sequence, and it is worth memorizing, because almost every failure in this course is a sequencing failure rather than a research failure. Stage 1. Select a topic and identify a suitable project supervisor. Stage 2. Prepare the project proposal in consultation with that supervisor. Stage 3. Fill the project proposal proforma completely, signed by you and by your supervisor. Stage 4. Attach the supervisor's complete and signed biodata. Stage 5. Submit the whole package to the coordinator of your program study center or study center. Stage 6. Wait for approval. Stage 7. Carry out the project work. Stage 8. Prepare the report and get it checked by your supervisor before binding. Stage 9. Submit the report in a scheduled submission slot and appear for the Viva. Now the golden rule that sits between Stage 6 and Stage 7. You do not begin the project work until the proposal is approved. Not the survey, not the field work, not the writing. Students who start early and then get their proposal returned with changes end up holding data that does not answer the approved objectives. They either repeat the field work or submit a report that quietly contradicts its own proposal. Evaluators notice that. How long does approval take? The handbook indicates that you will be informed of approval or non-approval within about a month of the proposal being received. Treat 1 month as the planning figure rather than the guaranteed figure. And follow up with your study center if you hear nothing. Here is a realistic timeline for a 6-credit project: 2 to 3 weeks to settle a topic and confirm a supervisor, 2 weeks to write the proposal, 4 to 6 weeks in the approval queue, 6 to 8 weeks for data collection and analysis, 3 to 4 weeks to write and format the report. Add those up and you are looking at 4.5 to 6 months from first idea to bound report. Work backwards from your submission slot and you will see immediately whether you are planning or simply hoping. Section 4. Choosing a topic that gets approved on the first attempt. The handbook is direct about what it wants. The very first evaluation criterion is selection of topic, judged on the relevance of the problem to the real world. Notice what is not being asked for. It does not ask for a novel topic, an ambitious topic, or a fashionable topic. It asks for a real problem that you can actually study. So an approvable MEVP-012 topic has 5 properties. It names a specific environmental problem. It names a specific place or population. It can be answered with data you can genuinely reach. It fits inside one session. And it connects clearly to something you have studied in MEVS. There is also a subtle difference between this project and the MSc Environmental Science project that students keep missing. MEVS is an MA. Its course list is full of society, policy, legislation, urban environment, disaster management, and sustainable development. That means a socio-environmental study, behavior, perception, compliance, policy implementation, community practice, sits perfectly inside your program. You are not obliged to run a laboratory analysis to be taken seriously. What you are obliged to do is collect real data and analyze it properly. 6 theme areas that fit MEVS particularly well: solid waste and sanitation behavior, urban air, water and green space, climate change perception and adaptation at community level, environmental legislation and compliance in practice, biodiversity and natural resource use by local communities, and sustainable development goal linked studies at district or ward level. Let me now put one worked example on the table and carry it through the rest of this guide, so you can see every stage applied to a single real project. The title: Assessing Household Waste Segregation Behavior and its Effect on Municipal Solid Waste Diversion in Ward 14, Dehradun. Look at what that title does. It names the behavior being studied, it names the outcome being measured, and it names one ward of one city. It is small enough to finish and specific enough to defend. Its objectives would read something like this: 1. To assess the current level of source segregation practice among households in the ward. 2. To identify the factors associated with regular and irregular segregation. 3. To estimate the effect of segregation practice on the quantity of waste diverted from landfill. 4. To suggest practical measures for the municipal body. 4 objectives. Each one is measurable, each one produces a section of a chapter, and together they cover the study without overlapping. That is the standard to aim for. And the method fits the 6-credit budget. A structured household survey of roughly 150 households, 3 months of ward-level waste collection records, and simple descriptive and cross-tabulated analysis. Nothing exotic. Just enough data, honestly collected and properly analyzed. Section 5. The supervisor rule and the one line in the handbook that stops more proposals than anything else. Your project supervisor is not a formality. IGNOU sets eligibility conditions, and the regional center is the authority that accepts or rejects your proposed supervisor. Broadly, the handbook looks for a supervisor holding a master's or doctoral qualification in environmental science, environmental studies, or a related discipline, with teaching experience of at least 2 years. Approved academic counselors of the MEVS program are the most straightforward option because the regional center already recognizes them. Confirm the exact wording in your current handbook before you approach anyone. Now, the line that costs students an entire session. The handbook states that if the complete and signed biodata of the supervisor is not enclosed, the proposal will not be entertained. And it adds a clarification in brackets. Even if the proposed supervisor is an academic counselor of IGNOU's MEVS program. Read that again. Even if your supervisor is an IGNOU MEVS counselor, the biodata still has to be attached. Students assume the university already holds those details on file, skip the attachment, and their proposal is not rejected on merit. It is simply not processed. The biodata should carry the supervisor's name, designation, qualifications with subject and year, teaching or professional experience, full official address, contact details, and the supervisor's signature. And if your supervisor is an IGNOU academic counselor, the handbook asks that the courses he or she counsels for are clearly mentioned. There is one more rule with real consequences. If the proposed supervisor is not acceptable to the regional center, you are advised to change the supervisor and resubmit. And that resubmission is not an amendment. You submit the project proposal afresh on a new proforma with the new supervisor's signature, and it is treated as a new proposal. The same applies if you decide to change your supervisor for any reason of your own. Practically, that means your supervisor decision is a scheduling decision. Choosing the wrong person does not cost you a signature. It costs you another full approval cycle. So what should a good supervisor actually do for you? Narrow your topic before you write. Sanity check whether your data is genuinely reachable. Review your objectives for measurability. Read the draft before you bind it. And prepare you for the kind of questions the evaluator will ask. A supervisor who only signs the form is a supervisor you will regret at the Viva. Section 6. The proposal package and exactly what goes inside it. Your proposal submission is a package, not a document. Missing any one piece stops the whole thing. It contains the completed project proposal proforma, signed by you and by your supervisor, the project synopsis itself, and the complete signed biodata of your supervisor. That package goes to the coordinator of your program study center or study center. Keep a photocopy of everything, including the proforma. The handbook is blunt about the proforma. All entries must be filled with appropriate and complete information, and an incomplete approval proforma in any respect will not be accepted. A blank field, a missing date, an unsigned box, any of these sends your file straight back. The synopsis itself should carry a working title, a short introduction to the problem, a brief review of what has already been studied, a clear statement of objectives, the proposed methodology with your sampling plan and data sources, the expected outcome, a rough chapter plan, a timeline, and your references. Confirm the page or word limit in your current handbook, because that figure varies across IGNOU programs and is not standardized. 2 outcomes are possible. Approved, in which case you can submit your project report in any of the scheduled submission slots, or not approved, in which case the evaluator writes comments and suggestions, the proforma is countersigned by the regional director or the assistant regional director, and you revise and resubmit. Read those comments literally. They are the exact standard your revision will be judged against. Section 7. Writing and formatting the MEVP-012 project report. The report opens with its preliminary pages in order, the cover page carrying the title, your name, enrollment number, the program code MAEVS, the course code MEVP-012, your supervisor's name and the submission session, then the certificate of originality, the supervisor's certificate, your acknowledgements, the table of contents and the lists of tables and figures. Then the body. For a study like our Dehradun example, 5 chapters carry it cleanly. Chapter 1. Introduction. The problem, its context, the rationale, the objectives and the scope. Chapter 2. Review of literature. What is already known and the gap your study fills. Chapter 3. Methodology, study area, research design, sampling, tools, data collection and analysis methods, and your limitations. Chapter 4. Results and discussion, your findings presented in tables and figures and then interpreted. Chapter 5. Conclusion and recommendations. What you found, what it means, and what you would advise. After that, references and appendices. Now, where do the marks actually sit? The handbook lists its evaluation criteria explicitly. Selection of topic, judged on real-world relevance. Introduction and objectives, judged on your reasons for studying the problem. Work already done in that area. The aims and feasibility of your study, and your project planning. Methodology. Analysis judged on precise and correct analysis of the observations and results obtained. And presentation of the report, judged on organization, correctness and clarity of content, simple and correct use of language, referencing of tables and diagrams, and proper binding of the project work. Your handbook gives the component wise weightage in a table and again in Annexure 4. Open that table and let it tell you how much space each chapter deserves. Formatting. A 4-paper, a readable serif typeface such as Times New Roman at 12 point, 1.5 line spacing, justified body text, 1-inch margins with a slightly wider left margin for binding, continuous page numbering, and every table and figure numbered, captioned, and referred to in the text. The handbook's own criteria mention proper binding of the project work, with spiral binding referenced there. Confirm the binding requirement and the number of copies in your current handbook and with your regional center before you go to the printer. Referencing should be consistent from the first page to the last. Pick one style, most commonly APA for this kind of work, and never mix styles. Your questionnaire, interview schedule, raw data tables, and any permission letters belong in the appendices, not in the main chapters. And one instruction from the handbook that is easy to miss: before you submit the final draft, show it to your supervisor before binding, and attach copies of your approved proposal. Section 8. Submission, the Viva, and what happens if it goes wrong. First, the most common routing mistake in this entire process. Your synopsis and your final report do not travel the same road. The synopsis package goes to the coordinator of your program study center or study center by post or as instructed by your regional center. The final project report is submitted in a scheduled submission slot, currently through IGNOU's online project submission portal as a single PDF, or in hard copy to the regional center where that route applies. IGNOU states explicitly that the synopsis must not be uploaded to the project submission portal. Every session, students upload the synopsis there, receive no approval, and lose months. If you are submitting a hard copy, the handbook is specific about the envelope. Write clearly on the top of it: M.A. Environmental Studies, MEVS Project Report, MEVP-012. Retain a photocopy of the full report because you will need it at the Viva, and reports are not returned after evaluation. On timing, project reports are tied to the term end examination cycle. Submission for the June cycle typically closes at the end of May, and for the December cycle at the end of November, with extensions announced fairly often. Dates change every session, so confirm the current slot on ignou.ac.in before you plan your printing. There is also a project evaluation fee, so confirm the current amount and the payment route for your session. Then the Viva. The coordinator of your program study center or study center fixes the date and intimates you in good time. The project evaluator conducts it, and the handbook says the Viva assesses 2 things: your subject knowledge related to your project and your presentation and communication skills. You must bring a copy of your project report with you. Prepare for 6 questions and you will handle almost any Viva. Why this topic? Why this study area? Why this sample size and this method? What did the data actually show? What are the limitations of your study? And what would you do differently if you repeated it? Every one of those answers should come straight out of your own report. If you cannot answer them from memory, that is a signal about the report itself. And now the honest part. What happens if you are declared unsuccessful? The handbook is clear. You must redo the whole cycle. right from the submission of the project proposal, and it advises you to select a new topic and prepare and submit a fresh proposal. There are also no separate slots for failed students. You submit in the regular scheduled slots like everyone else. That is exactly why the earlier stages matter so much. A weak topic is not a small problem you fix later. It is a full extra cycle. Section 9. Is this project worth the effort, and what does it actually do for you? Let us answer the judgment questions directly, because they are the ones students actually search for. Is the MEVS degree valid for jobs? Yes. IGNOU is a central university, and its degrees are recognized for employment and for further study on the same footing as any other recognized university degree. What differentiates one MEVS graduate from another is not the certificate. It is what is inside the project. Is MEVP-012 worth doing properly rather than minimally? Consider what it is on paper. 6 credits of independent research on a real environmental problem, with a defined methodology, real data, and a defended oral examination. That is the most portable thing in the whole program. Environmental work, with pollution control boards, municipal bodies, sustainability and CSR teams, environmental consultancies, and the development sector, is largely about framing a problem, gathering evidence, and writing it up for a decision maker. Your project is a small, verifiable demonstration that you can do exactly that. Is it good preparation for further study? If a research degree is anywhere in your plans, this is your rehearsal. Proposal, literature, method, data, defense. The sequence and the vocabulary are identical. Only the scale differs. Now, some quick answers to the questions that come up most often. Is MEVP-012 compulsory? Yes. It is a compulsory semester 4 course, and the degree is not completed without it. How many credits is it? 6. If you see a different figure anywhere, check the official MEVS course structure page. Can I submit the report before the synopsis is approved? No. Approval is the gate, and any work done before approval is work at risk. Does IGNOU give an approved topic list for MEVP-012? No. There is no official ready-made topic list. What the university gives you is the handbook, the proforma, and the evaluation criteria. And those tell you far more about what will be approved than any list ever could. Can I use a sample report from the internet? Use it to understand structure and tone, never for content. The certificate of originality that you sign is a declaration, and plagiarism is one of the fastest routes to rejection. Can my supervisor be from outside IGNOU? Yes, if the person meets the eligibility conditions and the regional center accepts them, and the biodata is attached either way. Let me recap the 6 things that decide this course. 1. It is MEVP-012, 6 credits, semester 4, and it is not MEVE-012. 2. Use your own program's handbook, not the MSc one. 3. Attach the supervisor's signed biodata, even if the supervisor is an IGNOU counselor. 4. Never start the work before approval. 5. The synopsis and the report travel 2 different routes. 6. A narrow, real local problem beats an impressive one every single time. Every figure in this guide comes from official IGNOU sources, but credits, fees, dates, and submission routes are revised from time to time. Always confirm the current position on ignou.ac.in and with your own regional center before you submit. I am BK Sahni, founder of Shri Chakradhar Education and IGNOUProject.com, and I have been guiding IGNOU students since 2010. If this helped, subscribe for the rest of the IGNOU project series, and there is a full written MEVS project guide waiting for you on IGNOUproject.com. Good luck with MEVP-012. Plan it early, keep it small, and defend it well.